Hello, my name is Brian. I'm a writer and I have over 25 books published on Amazon. Welcome to the next video in this series. This is Chapter 20, Deluge. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And here we go. Chapter 20, Deluge. The storm raged all morning with heavy rains and high winds. When the townsfolk began to arrive from Mass, the people were forced to risk their umbrellas in the blustery weather. Large, muscular men wrestled with them as they threatened to blow inside out. They used their big bodies to shield the women from the blowing rain. Philip stood well back from the front door to give the people enough room to burst into the foyer and out of the rain. They stared at him, sizing him up and wondering if he was priest material. They all knew of Father Jacob's demise. They had heard everything that Mrs. Fitz had said. Could the father's soul truly be in the hands of a demon from hell? Some of them doubted it. An equal number believed every word. Still, they looked Brother Philip up and down to assess whether he was ready to face down a demon from hell. Most of them did not think so. The dimness of the day outside was echoed indoors as well. Even with the lights on in the foyer and the chapel, the church was shrouded in grayness. The townsfolk filed into the chapel, each of them carrying a couple of lit candles. Soon the place was filled with their light. The women distributed them all around the room until the grayness was driven away. Mr. Beasley, the organist, began to play, and Philip waited until the hour of 10 struck. Then he signaled Mr. Beasley to begin the processional hymn. He marched to the front of the chapel and took up the place that Father Jacob had occupied for over 25 years. He looked out over the modest congregation and tried not to feel as inadequate as he had in front of the mirror in his room. He focused on the prayers he needed to speak. He was surprised to find inspiration when he found Mrs. Fitz's face in the crowd. She looked at him with confidence and mouthed the words to the prayers he offered. Throughout the Mass, the rain continued to fall outside. The thunder and lightning continued too. At times, the crashing of thunder drowned out Philip's prayers. The electricity in the church went out following a series of lightning strikes, one after the other. The thunder that followed threatened to drown out everything. Philip glanced through the low light towards the foyer and was startled to see a large shadow taking up the entire space. His eyes went wide, and he remembered Father Kyle saying that the creature in the basement might try to interrupt the Mass. He blinked several times and squinted into the dimness. The great shadow no longer looked like anything. It was just a blob of black against the grayness. He felt his insides turn to mush, and his mind went blank when he could not remember what prayer was to come next. He felt sudden inspiration and raised his eyes to heaven. Then he stepped down from the pulpit. He grabbed the large cross and held it up to face the back of the chapel. He could not tell if the shadow was still there, but he felt his insides tingle as he gripped the cross tightly in his hands. Mr. Beasley was confused when Philip left the pulpit. The young priest began to sing Amazing Grace at the top of his lungs. He marched towards the foyer as he did so. The organist caught on and played along with him. Whether it had anything to do with what he was doing or not, Philip was gratified to see the shadows in the foyer retreat ahead of him. If anything had ever really been there. Once he stood by the front door, he turned fully around and continued to sing while facing into the chapel. He looked to his side but could not see clearly through to the kitchen. He looked up to see the gold cross reflecting the candlelight. He felt tingles again and then the hymn came to an end. The electricity came back on as soon as he finished singing. The congregation applauded at the return of the lights, and then they gathered together in the sitting room. Philip joined them and received several pats on the back for the change in routine. The townsfolk quite enjoyed the singing at the end of the Mass, if only because it had never been done before. They had never seen a priest march around the church with the cross in his hands either, and that was well received too. And of course they credited him with restoring the electricity. The people left the church that day with a new appreciation for the young man who had taken over for Father Jacob. Mrs. Fitz gave him an encouraging smile as she walked out into the rain with her son Michael. Philip stood at the front door and stared through the window. He felt a sense of pride run through him, and lightning flashed outside. The thunder followed, and Philip chased the pride right out of his chest. He jumped when a voice spoke from behind. "Well done, boy." He turned in alarm to see Father Kyle lurking in the shadows near the entrance to the chapel. "I thought you weren't coming today," Philip said. Kyle shifted his eyes back and forth, and then focused on him. "I intended to stay away," he said. "I suppose my curiosity got the better of me." Philip grinned, still feeling absurdly proud of himself. "There was a point today where I thought your prediction might come true. You said the demon might try to stop the Mass. You saw it too, that shadow in the foyer." "You saw that?" Kyle shrugged and shook his head. "Who can say? The creature won't show itself openly. It was just shadows. Yes, that's what we're meant to think." Philip rolled his eyes and pulled his cassock over his head. He looked down at the jeans and t-shirt that he wore underneath. It was the same outfit he wore when he walked to Kyle's cabin that morning. He blushed slightly and threw the cassock over one shoulder. "Why did you come?" "I wanted to see you handle your first Mass." "How did I do?" "Pretty good. Your impromptu hymn at the end threw me off." "I think it threw everyone off. And that's why it was so effective in driving the demon away. You surprised it." "There was no demon, it was just shadows." Kyle smiled widely and slapped him on the shoulder. "It's that confidence that will destroy it. Anyone who faces that demon cannot feel fear or uncertainty. The minute your confidence slips, your soul will be gone." Philip frowned and fixed his eyes on the elderly priest. "I told you before, you don't have to tell me scary stories." "In this case, I think I do. Come and sit with me. I'll make some coffee." "No, I've already stayed here too long. I don't have the same confidence you do." Philip went back to the kitchen and thought about making more coffee. He stared at the pot for a long time and decided that he did not need more coffee. He was already riding high on adrenaline and nerves from leading his first Mass. The grin came to his face unbidden. Outside, the storm continued. The wind too kept up, driving the falling rain almost sideways. He turned the lights down, knowing that he did not need the place to be lit up like a circus, as his mother might say. And he found the dimness soothing. He stared at the weather outside with the grin on his face firmly in place. A knock on the front door jarred him out of his trance. He stood up and hurried to the foyer. He was surprised to see Mrs. Fitz and her son Michael. He let them in, and the elderly woman came in while Michael stood at her back. He was blocking the falling rain from striking her with his large frame. "And here he is," Mrs. Fitz said. Hunters Creek's newest parish priest. Michael grinned, which gave Philip pause. He had never seen him nor any of the other men in town smiling. Well done, Father, the big man said. I'm not ordained, Philip said. You can call me brother. I don't give a shit about that, he replied. Michael, his mother snapped. Have some respect. Sorry, Ma, he said with a shrug. But I'll call the boy father anyway. He handled Mass just fine as far as I could see. He did indeed, she agreed. And he drove that demon out of the foyer as if he were blessed by the Father himself. Demon, Philip said. There was no demon. Devil take you, lad, but there was, she snapped. I saw it myself, standing in the foyer as if it owned the place. Philip smiled and nodded. He did not want to curb her enthusiasm. You're damned right it was there, Michael said. It was getting ready to take some souls when the Father here marched right into its face with the cross of the Lord in his hands. Aye, I saw that too, his mother said. You'd think that Jesus Christ himself was advancing on that infernal devil. It fled from his face as if every angel in heaven was on its tail. Aye, it did that, Michael said. Anyway, she said, I know that no one had picked up the groceries from the diner yet, so me and Michael brought them to you. Michael stepped through the hallway to the kitchen with bags of groceries in his hands. His mother followed him, and so did Philip. Thank you, Mrs. Fitz, but there was no demon. A lad has to eat, she said, and I say there was. She took the groceries and started packing them away in the refrigerator and in the cupboards. You don't need to do that, Philip said. Nonsense, she scoffed. What does a young man know about the proper way to put away groceries? Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.